You're going to be under arrest.
For what?
For not listening to me.
I think the emergency is the video, somebody's videotaping.
Okay. And the shirt says, I believe, balls deep. He says his name is Captain Awesome.
Hey guys, Rogue Nation here with you. I got an awesome video here for us today. It comes from the channel John M. Phillips. He's a lawyer here in Jacksonville, Florida with Phillips and Hunt. And he's deposing a dirty deputy that used what many will consider to be very excessive force for the crime committed. Now, I had originally teamed up this deposition with the body cam footage and a short news clip of the incident, but YouTube would not let me run it. So I'm going to go ahead and leave in the description, I'm going to leave a link for the body cam footage and the news clip, so that way you can check it out. I highly recommend you check it out before you watch this video. This video is kind of long. It's coming up on a little bit over 3 hours, but it is a deposition. Extremely interesting. I hope everybody enjoys it. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this incident in particular. But also go by and let John know, we enjoy his work. He's got a lot of depositions on his channel from a lot of dirty cops. So if you enjoy depositions like I do, this will definitely be a channel that you'll grow to appreciate. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and again, let me know in the comments below. Follow me on Facebook, Majorly Awesome, and if you have any spare change lying around, donate to me on Cash App or PayPal, because I am getting back out onto the street and I'll need some gas money. Alright, thanks folks, later.
This is the video recorded deposition of David Harvey in the matter of Martinez Bowman versus Mark A. Hunter et al. Case number 3:22 CD 545MNH MCR. This deposition is being held at Scribe Associates Incorporated, located at 121 Southeast Fernando Avenue in Lake City, Florida. Today's date is April 14th, 2023, and the time is 9:56 a.m. The court reporter is Ingrid Cox. My name is R.L. Minnick. I'm the videographer. Would counsel please introduce themselves, and the court reporter please swear in the witness.
John Phillips and Amy Hanna on behalf of plaintiff.
Dawn Whitehurst. I'm an attorney with the Sniffen and Spellman Law Firm, and we represent the defendants in this case.
Sir, if you please raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm the testimony about giving this cause to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Please state your full name for the record.
David Allen Harvey.
Are you currently employed?
Do I have a job?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Are you currently employed in a job that you would have a title? Like, are you employed with law enforcement?
No.
Okay.
Well, I am a reserve officer. I just went reserve with Jasper Police Department.
Okay. Is Mr. Harvey okay to refer to you today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My name's John Phillips. It's good to meet you. My role today is to ask you fair questions that you understand.
Yes, sir.
And if I don't achieve my goal of asking you fair questions that you understand, I'm probably going to either draw an objection or get a confused answer, and I don't want either one of those. So if you don't understand my question, please stop me, ask me to rephrase. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that you did understand my question if you answered. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
Yeses and nos are much better in a deposition, and we do have video to kind of see head cues, but yeses and nos are better than uh-huhs and uh-uhs. Us Southerners kind of rely on uh-huhs and uh-uhs a lot. So try to stick with the verbal responses instead of nonverbal or kind of our slang. Finally, if you want to take a break for any reason, let me know.
I'm dealing with kidney stones right now.
Okay.
So,
Fair
and
enough.
they ain't no joke.
I've never had it. People tell me that if you drink a lot of sweet tea, sometimes that's a part of the problem. But
And energy drinks.
right. Okay. Well, even worse. Let the record show. Amy just freaked out. Okay. Well, we'll get started. So, where are you currently employed?
I drive a truck for TMX Intermodal.
And what is TMX Intermodal?
They haul containers out of Jacksonville Port.
How long have you done that?
Going on a year and a half now. Well, yeah, about a year and a half.
Do you have any other co-employment or other employment?
No, just as a reserve officer with Jasper PD.
What do you do? Or I guess the key word there being reserve. How is it reserve?
You'll come out. I just went to them, so I haven't been out yet. But you'll come out once a month, once every 2 months or something like that, just to keep the standards inactive.
Okay. And when do you have service, or when do you work as a reserve officer?
Just whenever if I'm off from doing my primary job, which I haven't went yet, is what I'm saying. So I just reactivated my certification.
Okay. And now I'm going to kind of go backwards, or start more in chronological order. What's your educational background?
I got a GED at 16, and my correction certification, and then crossover to law enforcement certification.
Okay. How and where did you get your certifications?
Correction certification was the first one, 2003, at Florida Gateway College. The crossover was a year later in 2004 at North Florida Community College in Madison.
Okay. What was your first job?
First job ever?
Yes.
A raised nursery in Sanderson, Florida at age 15.
Okay. What was your first job related to law enforcement or corrections?
I went to Florida Department of Corrections in 2003.
How old were you in 2003?
19.
Okay. Tell me about that.
I was there for the duties or what?
Yeah, sure.
I started out as just a correctional officer, which is, I guess you could say, layman terms, a guard. Started at Union Correctional, went to transferred a few months later, transferred to Hamilton Correctional. Stayed there for 3 years, I think. I was a outside grounds officer around 2006. Then I had my law enforcement certification, so I went to work with Department of Agriculture. Stayed with Ag for about 6 months. Went and got my CDL license. You want to know all my jobs or just?
Sure.
Okay. Went and got my CDL license. In 2007, drove for about a year and a half. Decided that this didn't have no retirement at age 22, 23 now. So I went back to Florida Department of Corrections. And when I went back in, I think it was 2008 or 2009, I started out as just a regular correction officer for a year, got promoted to sergeant at Columbia CI, was a sergeant for about 4 years, during that 4 years, transferred back to Hamilton CI, stayed there for a little bit, transferred to Swanee CI, stayed there for a little while as a sergeant, and then I promoted to lieutenant at Martin CI down in South Florida. I stayed at Martin CI for just a few months, and I went full-time from there to Jasper PD in 2014. 14, I think. During that time as a correctional officer, in 2010, I was employed by Jennings PD as a reserve. I stayed there for 4 years. During that 4 years as a reserve, I went from officer to corporal to lieutenant. I left Jennings PD when I made lieutenant down in South Florida with DOC because I was having to stay down there in South Florida. So I left them, and then I was offered a full-time paid position with Jasper PD. So I left there and went to Jasper PD. Stayed with Jasper PD for 2 years. Pay wasn't that great. Hours were bad, as in you was off during the week, Monday, Tuesday, or Tuesday, Wednesday. I applied with Columbia County Sheriff's Office for, it was obviously more money. Every other weekend off. I was hired there in 2016 and was there until 2020 or 21, I can't remember. And then I retired after 17 years.
Okay.
And then utilized my CDL license to start driving truck.
Okay. Did you have your own business at a point?
My own.
Independent contractor or truck driving business?
Yeah, I do now.
Okay. What is that?
I buy the truck. I bought the truck, and I lease on with the company TMX Intermodal. So
Okay.
I work for them, but I own the truck.
Okay. And is that what the Blue Line?
Custom services.
Yes.
Yes. You have to have your own business name to.
Okay.
Because you're like independent contractor.
Certainly. So you get paid through TMX, or do they pay Blue Line and then you pay? Blue Line pays you. Do you understand?
Yeah, TMX pays Blue Line, and then I'm an employee.
Okay, very good. You're from Jasper?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it looks like you took a pay cut to go to Jasper Police Department.
Yes, sir.
And on your employment history of whatever it is, at some point you said you did that to pursue your dream to be a full-time police officer.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that.
Taking a pay cut to.
Taking a pay cut and pursuing your dream. Tell me about what you meant by pursuing. You left the Department of Corrections to pursue your dream to be a full-time police officer.
That's what I always wanted to do, is be a full-time police officer instead of working in the prison. I'd done 9 years in the Department of Corrections, and a lot of times in the jail system, you're in the jail system before you go into law enforcement. So that's why I left. But it really wasn't a pay cut because of overtime.
Okay.
I probably made more money in overtime than when it equaled all out. But it was a pay cut, yeah.
As an
Base
annual
pay
salary,
cut,
yeah. Okay. She also, in normal conversation, we shorthand sentences and we know where each other are going. I do it too after 20 years of doing this. So we've just got to remember, she'll get mad at both of us if we start talking over each other.
Okay.
So that's kind of my warning, including to myself, because I did it there. Did you know anybody at Columbia County Sheriff's Office when you applied to work for CCSO?
I knew the records person over there, but that was it.
Okay. Why Columbia County Sheriff's Office?
Because I live in Jasper, and that's probably the highest paying in the area.
What position did you start at Columbia County Sheriff's Office?
As patrol deputy.
When you retired, what was your final position?
I had several different jobs. I was a K-9 handler. I was assigned to SWAT. I was assigned to the DUI team. I was assigned to Honor Guard. I was assigned to the criminal interdiction team. I was the agency inspector for the breathalyzer machine, intoxilizer. I believe that was it.
Okay. Did each of these come with extra pay? Let's just go through them. What'd you say your role was with DUI?
The DUI team.
Okay. Tell me about that.
It was a team that I actually formed, and you would come out on certain, say like holiday seasons, like Christmas through Christmas and New Year's, because those are the most deadliest weeks in the state for DUI accidents. Your major holidays that have drinking involved and stuff like that.
Okay. And
It's more of an overtime
gotcha.
detail.
And what was your role with SWAT?
I was a operator, SWAT operator, and the canine handler for the SWAT.
Did SWAT come with extra pay?
Yes, sir. I think it was a stipend of $1,000 a year, I believe.
Okay. And I believe K9 came with extra pay.
That did, yes, sir.
We'll get more into that. What's honor guard?
Honor guard, say we have a line of duty death of a officer, we will go and do the funeral honors, is standing with the casket, and you're dressed up to a T and real uniform.
Some of these things you're not going to know the precise answer to, but if you're guessing, let me know you're guessing. And this is probably one that I'm kind of calling for a guess, unless you know. I'm from Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
How big is Columbia County Sheriff's Office? Like, how many officers did it have when you were there?
I believe over 100.
Okay.
I mean, don't quote me on that because I don't know, but I think it might be over 100.
That's what I asked for. And as far as, I guess, hierarchy of titles, it would go patrol officer, sergeant, lieutenant, assistant chief, chief. How does it go?
It would go patrol officer, corporal, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, major, and then the sheriff.
Sheriff. Everybody's a little different. And as far as that hierarchy, you were a patrol officer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. At all times?
Yes, sir.
While you were at Columbia County Sheriff's Office, did you receive any discipline?
No, sir.
Okay. Why'd you leave?
I retired.
Why'd you retire?
Because the trucking industry pays a whole lot more than the government industry.
Okay.
Try to pursue more for my family and myself.
Now, I'll put it like this, and don't get offended by my questions. We're just doing a job, and I think I know the answer. But at some point, when a person and their employer reach the end of the road, they say, "Listen, I think you need to retire," or "I think you need to resign," and then the person says, "Okay, I will," but that's the story. You understand?
Yeah.
Was that the story?
No.
Okay, you really wanted to resign or retire, and that's what you did?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Who is it Drago or Drago?
Drago.
Drago. Who is Drago?
The K9 that I handled.
And I understand Drago has passed away.
Yes.
My condolences. How did you have a dog, K9, other than Drago, at any point in your career?
No.
Okay. How did this come up with you being, how did you decide, or they decide, or who decided that you would be working with a canine?
How did I decide?
Or how did it come about?
Positions opened up in where I came from. The agencies were so small. There wasn't any I would say opportunity to move forward or do anything like canine handling or any of the other positions that I held. Where I came from, it's so small, there was none of that.
Okay.
Moving on to Columbia County Sheriff's Office, there was a range of opportunities. So after a year and a half of me being on patrol, position came open for canine, and I wanted to do canine. So that's how it come about.
How is that broadcast? Is there like a bulletin that goes out, or is there an email, or how does a position come up? How are you alerted of it?
Yeah, it's advertised for the whole agency.
Okay, so hey, was it a new position, or did somebody retire, if you recall?
I don't remember, actually. When I got here, there was only 2 canine positions. So I think they opened up to have 1 on each shift. So there was going to be 4 canine positions.
And I've seen the photos of 4 canines. During your tenure, was there 4 positions?
While I was a canine here?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it still 4 as far as you know?
I don't have a clue.
Okay. Which came first, the position or Drago?
The position.
Okay. Were you involved with the acquisition of the specific canine, Drago?
Acquisition.
Yeah. Do you know where Drago came from?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where did Drago come from?
Pennsylvania. That's the kennel that he came from, was Pennsylvania.
Okay. Was Drago born in Germany?
I think Czechoslovakia.
Okay. Do you know how and I think I know the answer too, but as far as you're aware, Columbia County Sheriff's Office acquired it from the kennel in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Okay. And the kennel in Pennsylvania acquired it from Europe.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know if the kennel in Pennsylvania had German Shepherds that weren't trained in Europe?
I have no idea about that.
Okay. How old was Drago when Columbia County, when you first were assigned Drago?
I think a year and a half.
Okay. Again, who taught Drago German?
Object to the form. How do we know Drago knows German?
Okay, did Drago know German?
I don't know German.
Okay.
I don't.
The commands that Drago gave, what language, understood what language were?
I don't know what language they were. Those commands are what the trainer told or trained us that's what you give the command. The dog don't know. It's more or less, I don't think the dog knows German.
Right.
The dog, it's just like calling, I don't know if you know anything about pets at all. After a certain period of saying a word over and over again, the dog learns that word, as in what that word is associated to.
Condition response.
So I don't think it's he knows German.
Certainly, but the dog was conditioned to respond to commands in German. Are you aware of that?
Object to the form.
If that is the commands that I give him, is that German? I don't know the German language. All I
Okay.
know is the commands that I'm given are told to tell the dog over and over again through 6 months of training.
Let me back up then. What were the totality? Tell me all of the commands that you were trained to give or use with Drago?
You had Pockin, you had, which Pockin was a apprehend command. Foos, which was that makes the dog come back to you and walk. Just say I said Drago Foos, he would come to me, stand beside me, and walk with me if I walked or stood still.
It's like a heel?
Yes. I never used that. I never used that, but I know what you're talking about. 9. If the dog is, say the dog is distracted, messing with something over there, 9, to tell him no, don't mess with that.
Exactly, to go to no. Okay.
Plots. That was the dog. When you say plots, the dog will lay down on all fours. I believe that was all of them.
1, 2, 3, 4. I seem to recall you saying there were 6. And I'm...
Well, I haven't been a canine handler in
Fair enough.
in a year and a half. So I mean, these commands were on a daily routine. That's all I can remember that there was.
Okay. Was there a command for speak?
Speak?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, like telling a dog to speak. Was there a command for sit?
Sit.
Okay. Did you pronounce it sit or did you pronounce it seats?
No, sit.
Okay. What were the names of the other 3 canines when you were there?
Rick was one. I think Jaeger was one. I can't remember what that other dog's name was. I can't remember what it was. Deputy Kirby's
Okay.
dog.
Were they trained? Okay. You'll agree that you had to explain to me, like with 9, that 9 meant no, right? So the word 9 was used instead of no.
Yes.
Why?
That's what the trainer told us. That was the word. That was the commands given from the trainer.
Okay. And are you aware that the word 9 is German for the word no?
I know it means no to the dog. I don't know that it's German
Okay.
for no.
Was Rec trained with these? I've owned a German Shepherd that knew English, that's parent knew German, and so I'm a little aware of the condition response training. I guess what I'm trying to understand with that is, I would refer to these German words as German words, but I understand there's a point of contention because you're just saying they're condition response words. Fair?
Yes, I guess that's the way. What you're saying, the condition response words.
Right.
That wasn't terms used.
What terms were used? These were the words that the dogs are trained on.
Yes, they told us that, okay, exactly what I just told you of what they meant, and when we were training the dogs, that's the words you used for them to do what they were supposed to do. But you had to train them to do what they were supposed to do on them words anyways.
And you had to train the officers what the alternative words were, right? So instead of saying no, you had to say 9.
Check to the form.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah. If they told me 9 means no. Is that what you're saying?
But if you said no to Drago, would you get the same response as if you said 9?
Probably not, because he don't know. That's not the word that was used for his everyday training or his everyday contact with him. So he I guess he wouldn't know what no was.
Was that ever explained to you why the word 9 was being used instead of no?
No.
Nobody said anything like, well, look, we don't
Well,
want...
no, I take that back.
Fair.
What I can remember is that those were used. So, say somebody else, just somebody else saying the word. If you use no, trying to use the dog for what he's used for. If somebody says no, or somebody says plots for him to lay down, or you used lay down. Somebody, say you were dealing with a suspect could say lay down and the dog may lay down. I guess that's what the...
And you said you guessed. Was there a written policy or was that explained to you?
I think it was explained. I believe there was no written policy.
Okay. But Reckon, Yeager, the other dogs were taught these same words by
Yes,
Columbia County Sheriff's Office.
We were all three dogs were in the same school together at the same time.
And what school was that?
Alachua County Sheriff's Office they do their own training, so that's who we trained with.
And is Alachua the ones that trains with these specific words?
Yes.
Okay. And do they bring the officers to that training that are going to be assigned those particular dogs?
Yeah, you train, there's no before training.
Okay.
The dog it's not the dog gets trained before, you're training the dog the entire time. So the dog, when you get the dog has no training whatsoever. So the instructors train you and the dog together.
Okay. And then this becomes essentially your responsibility 24/7, fair?
Yes.
The dog doesn't check in and out of the sheriff's office like a book, right?
No.
Okay. You're responsible to make sure it gets its veterinary care and food and water and all of that. Is the officer assigned Drago?
Yes.
Okay. And I would assume you would have a bond with the dog and the dog would have a bond with you.
Yeah, you have to, we got the dog a few months before going into the training. So, excuse me, the dog rides in the car with you the entire time before going to training. So that dog is, right there with you every day. He don't get out of the car. He don't, other than, going and letting him out to use the bathroom and associate with the people you're working with, and that's it. The entire, I think I got him like I believe it was about November, and we started training in February. So it's called a bonding time. So you and the dog bond the entire time of that.
Okay. And that started at about a year and a half old for Drago, that initial...
I believe that's how old he was.
Okay. What happened, so after you retired, did Drago stay with you or did it go back to the sheriff's office?
He gets he's too young to retire. The dog, I had him for 4 years. In a small agency like this, the dogs will go, their tenure is probably about 8 to 9 years. So after only 4 years of service, he still had, 4 to 5 more years left. So he goes on to another handler. Another handler is chosen through a tryout and all that stuff, and then he's put with that trainer, and then he has to go through school again.
Okay. Do you know what the cost is of the training that these dogs go through?
Well, I mean, you and that dog are in training for, I think it's about 6 months. There's hours on patrol, and there's hours on narcotics. I don't remember what those hours were. I mean, there were a lot, but I think it was about 6 months of training, and you got to put into consideration the hours to pay me every day. We went 4 days a week, 10-hour days. So my pay for that entire time, I mean, whatever that comes up to.
Right. And then do you know what Columbia County Sheriff's Office paid the kennel in Pennsylvania?
Oh, no, I don't know that.
Okay.
Paid for the dog or the or
Correct.
training?
The dog.
Okay, I was just making sure. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I don't know
Fair
that,
enough.
but like I said, the dog has no training
Right.
when you pick them up. So
Right.
verify or clarify that.
Do you know? I mean, at a year and a half, I would assume a dog would know some level of commands. Do you know what commands?
There was speaking of that, search is seek.
Seek.
Yeah, and I remembered that because that's all the dog knows to. When they advertise the dog to you, I guess you can say, to show what he can do and stuff like that. That was one of the things that he could do. They took a Kong, are you aware of what a Kong is?
Yes.
It's just a toy.
Yeah.
And they'll go in a room, they'll hide the Kong, and then they'd tell the dog to seek and let him go, and he'd go through that room sniffing and smelling for that Kong, because I guess they played with him with a Kong his year and a half. I don't know what they did before I got him. Yeah. But he knew how to search for that toy. So he has an idea of what a search process is.
And some of these are just pure questions that you're going to just, I have no idea, and that's totally fine.
Yes.
But do you know what the kennel for whoever had Drago the first year and a half, do you know what his command was during that period to sit?
I have no idea.
Okay. I don't know, it's perfectly
There was
fine.
another one too, hups, which was up. Say to jump into the car.
Ups.
Yeah, it was, I think, hups is how it was pronounced. These are just coming back to me.
That's
now,
fine.
because
And
it's
let's
been
keep
so
doing
long.
it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're at 7. If you think of any more during the deposition,
I think that's about it.
let me know. Do you know if Rex or Jaeger came from the same kennel?
I think Rick came from the same kennel. The Deputy Kirby's dog come from the same kennel too, but I cannot remember what that dog's name was.
I think one died in duty too, didn't it? Was that Drago or was there another one?
Drago was, he overheated, had a heat stroke during a training search.
Okay. So while he was...
Well, training is on duty.
Right.
So yes.
Okay. Was that the retraining?
Yes. Well, I guess I don't know what they were. I wasn't there. I hadn't been with them. But we trained once a week for 8 to 12 hours.
Okay.
For continuous training. That day's taken completely out for nothing but training every week.
Every week?
Every week.
You're training with the dog?
Well, you train with the dog every day. While on shift, I'll give you an example of training. Building searches. We get permission from the mobile home dealerships down the road, and you'll do a building search. Send the dog in. He goes around searching. You'll have a decoy, which is somebody maybe in a suit. He'll hide in a closet somewhere in that house. I would do trainings like that every day that I worked. If it was something like that, if it was something with having a decoy go walk through the woods a mile, hide a toy for me, I'd at least do that a day or a night. At least one specific training would be done every day, not counting on the days that we have training, and that was an 8 to 12 hour day of all
the dogs together?
All stuff, all the dogs together, but on multiple scenarios of training.
Okay, let me recap what I understand you to say. In in a work week, there would be one work shift a week that's dedicated for all the dogs to train together.
Yes.
And then one other day a week, a second day a week, no. Every day a week, you would have an activity or more than one activity scheduled to train the dog.
Wasn't really scheduled. It's when you had time to.
Okay.
And there might not be. You might have been busy that whole day and didn't get to. But I'd say 95% of the time there was. I personally done something that day to keep training moving.
Was it always in the search category, or was there other?
No, you building, searching, narcotics. We have training narcotics at the sheriff's office that you would go check out, and say I would go to a dealership. Say if I was on night shift, there's nobody around, so I go to a dealership to a couple of the cars. You would take the cotton swab, put it into the jar where that odor of the narcotic was. Take that cotton swab, and then you'll hide it on that car somewhere. And then I'd do probably a bank of 5 cars. 2 of them would have something on it. 3 of them wouldn't. So once you hid those things on the car, you would let it sit for, I think, 30 minutes. No odor of me around it for 30 minutes. That was gone. So, and then I would start on one car. It might be a hot car, which means it had the odor on it, or it might be a cold car, which didn't. Say if it was a cold car, you take the dog around it, show him where to sniff. He'll sniff it all the way around the car. You go around it. If he smelt the odor, he would sit down and point at where he smells it at. But if there wasn't nothing on the car, he wouldn't alert to anything. So then you'd go to the second one. Mm-hmm. You go to the second one, go around it, and then if he hits the spot where that cotton swab or that narcotic was placed at, then he would sit down, and then you would reward him for that.
Here's a question: when doing narcotic, and I think I know what the answer is going to be. When doing narcotic testing, do you use actual narcotics?
Yes.
Okay. Where do those come from?
DEA. You request them from DEA. DEA packages them for you, and they get sent to the sheriff's office, and they stay in a locked inventory locker until you check them out, sign them out, go use them. When you're done using them, you check them in, sign them back in, and that's it.
Use them for training.
Right. There's training narcotics.
Right. Not use them recreationally. I assume they stay in some sort of sealed
Yes.
container. Okay. And then how do the cotton swabs work in?
What do you mean?
You talked about like using cotton swabs that have scent of drugs.
No,
Did I misunderstand that?
I would take, because if you take cotton swabs and say if you have let's just say you have a bag of marijuana here, the bags are sealed up, but you can stick a cotton swab in that bag that's there, seal it up, and over a period of time, it'll gain that smell of what was in that bag.
Okay.
So it's a fainter smell. So you're not only training the dog with the physical narcotic, you're training with an even fainter smell.
Right.
That he's able to get the whiff of just the faint smell. So it's a more challenging training, I guess you could say.
So in the location where these narcotics, marijuana, are stored, are they stored with a certain number of cotton swabs that you guys can then?
No, you don't. You can't store the cotton swabs. Cotton swabs probably stayed with me. They're not. A cotton swab's not nothing that has to be under lock and key.
Right.
So, you don't store anything in the where the narcotics are stored at. Only the narcotics are stored in the secured locker in evidence in the sheriff's office.
Okay, and then you would go, for instance, to do your daily training, you take a cotton swab and
whatever I was going to train with that day, I could take that cotton ball.
Yeah.
So,
not a Q-tip, but a ball.
right. stick it in that bag and let it ride around and gain that odor onto the cotton ball.
Okay. What did you do on a regular basis to train related to suspect apprehension?
Just like the building search on a regular basis. I mean, there's scenarios with, say our once a week training, it consisted of scenarios such as building search apprehensions, traffic stop, suspect refusing apprehensions, suspect running apprehensions. These are all scenario bases that we trained on and the scenarios are what a police officer, law enforcement officer does every day. You're going to run into the same things not every day, but you're going to run into the same things often. So that's on our trainings, that's what you do scenarios on. So, I mean, a building search, somebody broke into a home, they're hiding in a closet, that's something that you would run into in a real life situation. So that's what the dog is trained for, real life situations.
Okay.
To the dog, it's just a game. His reward is to be able to say on the building search, he goes through the house, this decoy's in a closet, he smells the decoy in there, he starts barking, lets me know, hey, come in here, this is where the suspect is. I come in there, I'll give that subject warnings to come out, subject don't come out, open the door, the dog, the warnings are the dog's gonna bite you if you don't come out. You'll open the door, the dog will go in and he's in a bite suit and the dog will grab a hold of the bite suit.
Okay. Was Martinez Bowman hiding from you or Drago when he was apprehended?
No.
Okay. Going to that type of scenario where you have somebody who's not hiding, that the point is to detain them by K9, what training is done?
That's a whole different scenario. The scenario that I just gave you was, if you're referring to the Bowman thing, that was a whole different scenario. That scenario is a subject that we have trained on before, where we do a traffic stop, subject, you have two different things that could happen there. Subject could not comply, could not when you give him the commands to do what you need him to do to gain control of the situation, he doesn't comply, and you have to resort to an apprehension with the dog. Or the subject could run from the traffic stop. After subject runs from the traffic stop and dog's released, the dog will apprehend the subject running from the traffic stop. We've trained on both scenarios.
Okay. Martinez Bowman didn't run from the traffic stop.
No.
Okay. And what I want to know is examples of similar training, or how Drago would have been trained in a situation like Drago faced in Martinez Bowman.
Yes, the whole entire situation after a subject is not complying we've done scenarios where a subject doesn't comply with orders, and after you've given so many orders to comply, to merely just come back to the vehicle where you can be detained by handcuffs, and the subject not do it, that's when, after warnings are given and he still does not comply, then you'll release the dog for an apprehension so you can go and place the subject in handcuffs. Same scenarios have been, I mean, we've trained on the same thing before.
Okay.
I mean, is that what you're asking?
What does that training look like? How does that training work for that particular type of apprehension? I mean, we've talked about, guys hiding in closets and cotton balls related to drugs. What I want to know is, how is the situation analogous or similar to Martinez Bowman trained in the field?
Almost exactly how that situation occurred. Okay, so training with ASO, they use somebody's personal vehicle.
Well, that's with Sheriff's Office.
Yeah, they'll use a personal vehicle or bar, whatever. So it don't look like a police car. We'll be in a field. We get behind the vehicle. You turn your lights and sirens on to stop the vehicle. Vehicle does not stop. You'll continue on. The vehicle finally will stop. You get out. You conduct your stop, your felony stop. You give him commands. Subject's not complying with the commands. If after warning and the subject doesn't comply, so a lot of times the decoy will be like real argumentative, wanting to, like, yelling at you, telling you, you know, I mean, they use like F you, you know, it's all like a big decoy, I guess you would say that. I'm not really sure the words for that. But, and then after the subject doesn't comply, after so many warnings are given, then you'll release a dog to him. Now, he's in a bite suit.
Right.
So, and then when you release a dog to go after him, he'll apprehend the subject. Then you run up there, place the subject in cuffs, release the dog from the subject, and then it's your team comes and carries him off like he's going to a car to be placed in a car.
Okay. What do you mean by big decoy? You said
Decoy?
It's a big decoy.
A what?
A big decoy? Is that what you said when you're referring to the person in the suit?
Just a decoy. I don't.
Okay.
There's no big, little. There's.
Okay. And to get the dog to, and I want to use the right words, to get the dog to go over to and let me use your words. Dog's by your side. This referring to training. The dog's by your side. What is it called to send the dog over to apprehend somebody?
So the dog's not by my side. The dog is on a leash.
Okay.
Until you pull, or he might be on a short traffic stop lead. Most of the time, you don't have to even give the dog a command because he's done. When you first train the dog, you tell him pocking. After the dog's done this so much, you don't have to tell him anything. He already knows what's going on because when you let him go, he's going to go do what he's done before. He knows what we're doing. He knows there's fixing to be a bite here. So if the subject doesn't comply, he's going to go. So most of the time, you don't even have to tell the dog anything. You'll let him go, and then he'll do it. But to apprehend somebody, the started off training was you tell him pocking.
Okay. So when you pull Drago out, is it your testimony that Drago knows that this is a pocking without you having to tell him it's a pocking?
He knows that it's possibly, yeah. He knows that because that's what the training is about.
Right.
Because you're not just gonna bring a dog out and just. I'm not gonna let him go at any time because he might go over there and think that that's what this is. But yeah, I mean he's done the scenarios so many times that to a dog it's a game. The dog don't know that this is we're taking somebody into jail or it's an apprehension. He thinks it's a decoy anyways because when we do the decoy scenarios, the person puts on regular clothes over the thing so it don't look like these suits are blue. So if the dog is trained on just that blue suit, the dog might think, well, all I do is go apprehend somebody with a blue suit on.
Right.
You know, so that's why they wear the clothes over top of it, so it looks like a normal human being that we would be in a scenario with.
And I assume those suits have padding and material that is designed to be bite-proof.
Of course.
Okay. Whereas a civilian doesn't.
No.
Okay. So okay. Then whether or not you say Pocken, upon release, the dog is going to go do its apprehension.
Yeah, he will.
Okay. How does that stop?
If I send that dog, if that dog goes, I can holler at the dog and say, Drago, foos, and he'll turn a U-turn and come back and sit. And that's also to be certified through FDLE and through FLECA. That same thing, you have to, you have to show that to those FDLE certifiers that the dog will. So what happens is a dog, I'll give you the scenario of what that testing is to be certified. To do that is a decoy will stand down from you. You'll send the dog to the decoy. The decoy waits for the dog to get there, and you have to be able to call that dog back in mid-stride. It shows the control of the dog. So if that dog goes down there, I would holler, Drago, foos, and he'll make a U-turn and come back and sit. Then you reset, which meaning we're fixing to do another, we'll do another run at it. And then during the testing, that second one, I'll send him, and then he'll make the apprehension on the subject. But to get certified, that dog has to return to you. You have to give that dog the foos command, and he returns back.
Going back to the Martinez Bowman night, did Drago come back to you?
I didn't call him back.
Okay. Why not?
Because I let him go to apprehend Martinez Bowman.
Okay. Do you recall whether you yelled Pocken?
No, I didn't yell Pocken.
Okay. And I said yelled. Let me rephrase that. Do you recall whether you said Pocken at any point?
No, I didn't.
Do you recall whether you said foos at any point?
No.
Do you recall whether you said 9?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Tell me about that.
Tensions were so high, and during a situation like that, stress levels are high. I'd say you probably get tunnel vision. After I give Martinez Bowman all the warnings of I'll release my canine. I said the last time when I went to send him, it was like saying, if you deploy a taser on somebody, you say taser, taser, taser. When I released the dog, it was K99999, as in K9's coming to you. I don't know why that was running through my head at that time. It was stressful, and that's how I sent it. So I mean that's cut and dry. I don't know why.
And you're specifically taught not to repeat a command. You don't go Pocken, 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 right?
No, I'm not. You're not taught that. I wasn't taught that.
That you don't repeat?
No.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Here's a weird question. If you write out K9, how do you write it out? Spell how you write it.
K9?
Yeah, okay. But it also can be C-A-N-I-N-E, right? K9.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know if Germans refer to dogs as canines?
I have no idea.
Okay. Did you have any military training or background, including reserve experience?
No, sir.
Leading up to this incident, had you ever been arrested?
Yes.
For what?
DUI that was reduced to reckless driving.
Okay, so misdemeanor. Okay. Ever gone by any other different names or social security numbers?
No.
Who was with you at the time?
The time of what?
The time of this incident. Was there anybody in your car?
What we're here for?
Yes.
Yes, Deputy Godey.
Okay. And who was Deputy Godey? What was Deputy Godey's role with the Columbia County Sheriff's Office?
She was in training.
Okay. How does that work?
The new hire will get 3 phases of field training from an officer. Or it's called. I'm a field training officer too. That was one of my other roles too. I forgot to say.
Sorry.
The new deputy gets 3 phases of training. I think it's been a while since I've been there, so I'm trying to explain what each phase is. I think the first phase is more of your radio skills, driving skills, map of the county, figuring out that you know your way around the county, your first contacts with people, handling calls. You're watching the FTO do the calls, and then you'll handle the next calls, stuff like that. Then you go into phase 2, and phase 2 is it starts out as traffic stops is the first part of phase 2. Then it goes to maybe report writing. I don't know what all's in there, but traffic stops is the first part of phase 2, and then phase 3 is a shadow phase where the deputy is driving 100% of the time and conducting all duties of a deputy, while the FTO just watches and makes sure that they're doing it right.
Okay. What phase was she in on that evening?
2.
Okay. And what was your role at that point or up to that point in her training?
It was her first day there, and it was traffic stops.
Okay. Did you know her before that day?
No. I mean, other than her coming on and knowing who she was, not personally, no.
Okay. Did you know her personally
before she came to the
sheriff's office?
No.
Okay. And while she was at the sheriff's office up to today, I assume you never had a relationship with her?
No.
Okay. And
what do you mean, like a
personal relationship?
Like a boyfriend girlfriend thing?
Yes.
No.
Okay. I didn't think so.
Work relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
After training and all that, because she was put on my shift.
Okay. And then you weren't related to her?
No.
Okay. And so this was her, as far as you're aware, this was kind of her first night out in the field?
No, she had already been through phase 1. Phase 2 was traffic stop. So she'd been with another deputy through phase 1.
Okay.
I don't know what they did. I wasn't there.
Fair enough. This was her first traffic stop.
Right.
Okay. Had you had a traffic stop that evening?
I don't remember. I don't think with her, and I know for a fact with her, no, because that was the first one that was going to be conducted, and I was going to show her how to conduct a traffic stop, and that's how I wanted her to conduct it. And she would have took over then my driving seat and done her own traffic stops
after she saw you.
Conduct the first traffic stop.
Okay. Is she still with Columbia County Sheriff's Office as far as you're aware?
I believe so.
Okay.
You mind if I go to the bathroom real quick?
No, that's probably a good time. We've gone an hour. Let's take a little bit of a break and
Hold
I'll
on.
resituate and
Let him take us off.
and then we'll come back and move forward.
This concludes video 1. The time is 10:58 a.m. This beginning of video 2. The time is 11:06 a.m. We're on the record.
What are Columbia County Sheriff's Office general orders? Generally.
They're the old, like, policy of the way to conduct situations, like rules and regulations, I guess is a term for it.
Okay. How do you become familiar with them?
You have to read them. When you're hired on, you have to go over all the general orders and procedures.
Do you get your own copy?
Yes.
Bear with me, I think I gave you the wrong one. That's K-9 teams.
You gave me traffic.
That's why. Because I separated them and I wasn't supposed to. K-9 teams, traffic. K-9 teams. Did she give me 2?
Do you not have enough copies?
I might not have.
Okay,
I might have
if you
3.
tell me what you're using,
Yeah,
I
sure.
probably have it, so I
Okay.
can look at my own copy and you don't
Fair
give
enough.
me a copy.
I'm referring to Columbia County Sheriff's Office General Order Title Traffic Law Enforcement, initial bait stamp number Columbia Brown 006593.
All right, so that's the one we're looking at first, traffic law enforcement?
Yes.
Got it.
Do you get a copy of these?
Yes.
Okay. Where do you store it?
I think I think I stored mine in my patrol car.
Okay. Are they paper or digital or both?
I think they're just like this. Or you can go on, I think they have it on the sheriff's office portal itself that nobody has access to. I think they're all on there too.
Okay. Referring to page 2, all traffic citations shall be completed in accordance with current Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicle requirements and agency policies. Bias-based profiling shall never be used in traffic enforcement. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. What is bias-based profiling?
Biased means where you're biased towards a certain person, like just an example, kind of like if I had to judge between, this is just an example.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to judge between 2 people and one of these people was my friend, would I have more bias towards my friend than I would the other person? That's my definition of what bias is.
Okay. Well, what's bias-based profiling? When you add the word profiling in there, what does that mean?
Well, profiling is like, I would assume is in judging someone by their gender, by their ethnicity, by their age, by their their actions maybe, is what profiling is. Biased profiling would probably be, like I said earlier, being more towards my friends' actions, I guess.
Okay. Are you trained on, at Columbia County Sheriff's Office, were you trained on issues related to racial profiling?
I think we had we done through a Police One training online that I think there was a racial training on that we did. Through when I was in corrections, a lot of the interpersonal skills stuff was with racial, with the training of different ethnicities and stuff like that.
Okay. What did the Columbia County program teach you?
Shoot, it's been a while. Most of the training is I mean, it's common sense stuff, as in traffic stops or making contact with anybody. It can't be based on somebody's race, somebody's let's just say color of their skin, their what they've been involved in. I mean, the profiling part. I mean, that could be somebody. I'm not going to judge somebody by their history. Say they have a extensive criminal history, just because I made contact with them, don't mean they still do that. I'm not profiling that person by their criminal history because I know them. But the racial profiling is you're trained that you can't profile someone by their race.
Okay.
More or less.
On October 24, 2020, did you make any assumptions or judgments about Martinez Bowman based upon the color of his skin?
No.
Okay. Going down to, again, page 2, paragraph 4, nothing in this order shall prohibit a deputy from choosing to exercise enforcement discretion by issuing a verbal warning or accepting a driver's reasonable explanation for a non-criminal traffic violation. What does that mean?
That it's your choice to issue a traffic citation or just give a verbal warning on something.
And would that be so for a taillight infraction?
You could, yes.
Okay. Did you have a personal policy about, and I understand this exceeded at a point, a simple taillight pullover, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But did you have a policy related to, or a pattern in practice related to what you would do in a similar instance where there was a taillight out and you wanted to stop somebody?
I don't make my own policies,
Okay.
personal policies or anything. As I mentioned before, the only reason for that traffic stop was to show the deputy in training how to conduct a traffic stop. This was a merely out taillight, so therefore, subject comes to a complete stop. I get out, conduct traffic stop. Hey man, your lights aren't out. I mean, your lights aren't on. Fix them, and probably would have been just a verbal warning, so I could show her how to conduct a traffic stop.
Okay. Going to page 3. There's a section called Contact with the Violator. Deputies should be mindful of the following considerations. What's number 3?
Where's that at?
F3.
Deputies shall greet violators with appropriate title in a courteous manner.
Why is that important?
Because when you make contact with a violator on a normal traffic stop, you want to be courteous to not, have a bad demeanor towards the person, or the person take that bad demeanor and send it back to you.
Is that what happened here with Martinez Bowman?
That was a totally different situation.
Did you treat him with a courteous manner?
Conducting a felony traffic stop, I had to give him orders to gain control of that situation. So I don't know if you could say courteous,
Okay.
but he was given clear commands to do what I was ordering to do.
And I believe he was asking you a question 7 or 8 times. Did you answer his questions?
What was the question?
Are you going to shoot him?
I can't, if he would have brung a weapon out of that vehicle or a gun at me, I would have had to. To protect myself, so I can't tell him no. I don't know what he's got or what he's doing.
Did you explain that to him? That if you show force at me, I can shoot you?
I didn't. There wasn't the time and the interaction that was going on from him coming back at me giving him orders, trying to gain control of the situation. That wasn't an option. I couldn't get that out.
Okay. What's number 5?
Same.
Yes.
Letter. During conversation and observation of the violator, the deputy shall check for signs of physical impairment, emotional distress, and alcohol and/or drug use or drug abuse.
Did Mr. Bowman appear to be in emotional distress that evening?
Emotional distress?
Yes.
After the stop was conducted?
After he got out of his car.
He didn't look. I wouldn't say he was in emotional distress.
Is fearing for your life or expressing that you don't want to be shot a vocalization of emotional distress?
Yes, I guess that probably could be.
Okay. Why is it important to take, during conversations and observations with a violator, why is it important to check for signs for emotional distress?
Because in different scenarios, different situations, you can de-escalate that situation.
What did you do to try to de-escalate this situation?
Give the subject verbal. I tried to gain control of the situation first. That's what you have to control. You have to gain control so that subject, if I give him orders, he's complying with orders, then I can start talking at a lower down, more sensible, I guess, tone that everything's going to be all right. This subject didn't allow that. This subject was high. It was high on the scale of irate, and it wasn't. He wouldn't let me gain control of the situation to begin with. So I wasn't able to even start a de-escalate.
Did he curse at you?
I don't remember.
Did he call you any names?
No, I don't think he called me any names.
Did he threaten you?
No.
Did he?
Was his actions threatening? Yes.
How so?
Going back into a vehicle, not complying with lawful orders. I don't know if that subject's going back into that car to grab a gun to kill me with, to shoot his way out of the situation that he's in. I don't know. It's the unknown that a police officer has to make rational decisions at once.
Is it your testimony today that he got out of his car and got back in?
He did get out of the car. He didn't get back in the car. He went back in it with hands and the top of his body. Yes, he did do that.
How many times?
I can't remember how many times he did that.
Okay. Did Martinez Bowman obey your command to get out of his car?
He first did not obey those commands. It took order after order before he finally stepped out of that car. And then when he did step out of the car, he wouldn't comply with what I was telling him to do. He wouldn't. The procedure on a felony traffic stop, when you're conducting a felony traffic stop, it's priority for the safety of the officers and the subject that you're dealing with. You don't want to have to hurt the individual that you're dealing with. And so the orders given to him is the same orders we are trained on every felony traffic stop or whatever the case may be in that particular scenario. And he, after order, he finally did get out of the car. So then the orders of turn around, face away from me. He didn't want to face away from me. He was wanting to step towards me. Hands. We have to keep our hands. You have to keep that subject's hands away from their waist. You can't see up under that shirt. It is common practice for an individual to carry a gun in his waistband. It's common. It's in a police officer's world. You have to be thinking ahead at all times. I I want to go back home to my family, just like that individual wants to go back home to theirs. So I'm going to try to do this in the safest way and controlled way that can be done. He kept wanting to, as you can hear in the video, I'm telling him to turn around and face away. He didn't want to turn around and face away. He kept his hands down. He wouldn't bring them up. He'd bring them up sometimes, then he'd put them back down. So we have no idea. I have to make sure that those hands are not going for something quick to pull out. It may not be a gun. It could be a knife. He switch it out and then run at us. Anything could have happened.
Okay.
Did it happen? No, but it could have.
You've repeatedly used the term want. Mr. Martinez wanted. You don't know what he wanted to do you?
Object to the form.
Wanted?
Do you know what Mr. Bowman was thinking during any of this time?
Oh, no, I'm not. I can't read somebody's mind.
Fair enough.
They can't read mine.
Fair enough. But you do know what Mr. Bowman was saying, right? You heard him at all times, right?
The shoot me thing? Is that what you're saying? Or to come get me?
No.
Or
At any point you could hear him, right?
yes.
How far away was he?
Oh, I guess if we're, let's say, I'm just going to take a guess of 6 yards
Okay.
away.
So approximately 9 feet? No,
No.
18 feet? 6 times 3?
Let's be safe at 20, maybe 20 feet.
Okay.
That's estimation. I didn't count it out.
Okay. 6 yards to 20 feet.
From the front of my vehicle now, he was, let's say 20 feet from the front of my vehicle, and then me being behind the door of my vehicle, which is back further.
Okay. So 2 car lengths, maybe a little bit more.
I'd probably say about 3 car lengths.
Okay. But you could hear him.
Yes, I could.
Okay. And he was repeatedly asking for you not to shoot him and to tell him you're not going to shoot him. Is that fair?
Object to the form.
I don't know if he was telling me not to shoot him. I remember him telling me, or asking me, was I gonna, you gonna shoot me? You gonna shoot me? That's what I
Did you have an intention to shoot him?
Absolutely not.
Why didn't you tell him that?
I didn't get to that. To de-escalate any situation, you have to gain control of the situation first. He wouldn't let me control the situation. All he had to do was comply with what I was telling him to, and go with comply with my orders, and we wouldn't be here right now.
Do you think if you had answered his questions, we wouldn't be here right now?
No.
If you had said, no, sir, I'm not going to shoot you, just want to talk to you about your taillight, you don't think that would have changed anything?
No, because I don't know. He never would let me see if he had a weapon. I didn't know what was in that vehicle. If he would have come back out with a weapon, he would have got shot. Because I have to defend myself and the deputy with me. So I can't tell him that no, I'm not going to shoot you. I'm not. If that situation doesn't arise, I'm not going to do that. That's not what my intentions are. I've never shot anybody before in 17 years in the law enforcement profession. And would have hoped that I never would.
Fair. Going down to G3C, bottom of page 3. The deputy should be thoroughly familiar with the area and anticipate the appropriate location to stop the violator. Were you familiar with that roadway?
Object to the form.
I've been in that area before. I mean, knowing exactly where everything is on that road is not even, you're putting so many zones, which is not that, I've worked that zone before. I'm familiar with that roadway, okay, where it goes and stuff like that, but being familiar with every little thing there, no, I'm not familiar with everything there. I guess that's the answer for that.
Okay. Consideration shall be given to a location with ample space and appropriate lighting. What does that mean?
Appropriate, ample space to stop, probably. Appropriate lighting, lit area, I'm guessing.
Okay. Did you do that here?
When the stop was first initiated, there was ample lighting. The subject decided to go ahead and turn off and go down. We have overhead spotlights. We have a spotlight plus your headlights, and it lights up everything. Therefore, if we would have stopped on the road that we stopped on, which there was no traffic on that road, and that road is not heavily occupied by vehicles, he could have stopped in the middle of that road like people do every day.
That road is dark.
Object to the form. What road are we talking about?
Certainly. What road are we talking about?
What is it, 441 that we began on?
Right.
That road is completely lit up. There's a store right next to us. You probably don't even have to have headlights on to go down that road.
For 441, he was already turning by the time.
He was in the turning lane.
Right.
He wasn't turning when I blue lighted him.
Okay. And
that's why I went ahead and blue lighted him when I did, so he wouldn't turn. He'd stay there.
Did you turn on your sirens before he turned?
No.
Okay. Do you know when he first saw you?
No, I don't.
Okay. Then the next road is what, Gerwin? What's the name of the second road you were on?
I don't know.
Gerson? Gerson. No, that's reached Gerson, 302 Gerson Street. Just south of Gerson. I was at the intersection of Pine Grove Church and US 441. I pulled in behind the vehicle just south of Gerson. The vehicle pulled into Gerson. That's what the report says.
Yes.
Are you familiar whether that road you pulled on was Gerson, Gerson?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe so.
How many lights are on Gerson?
I don't think there is any on that roadway.
And is there a shoulder or a median on Gerson?
No.
Okay. Are there private drives on Gerson's?
I believe so, yes.
Are there hills?
No.
Curves?
At the end of Gerson, there is curves.
And you're instructed every effort should be made to avoid stops on hills, curves, intersection, private drives, business locations, and businesses which have limited parking. Bridges which have limited parking.
Is that what that says?
I'm just asking if that's part of your instructions.
If that's what the policy says.
Okay.
Where do you see that at?
It's 3C. It's the next sentence.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Okay.
But there was no curves there or intersections.
There's several private drives.
Several private drives. No businesses, bridges. Parking was limited.
I think we could argue that they're about ample space and lighting, right?
Ample space to stop?
Yeah.
He had ample space to stop.
Would there be ample space without blocking the roadway?
No, we would have blocked the roadway, but that's why we have the blue lights for if vehicles did come down there, which none did because it's not heavily traffic or heavily drove.
Going to the next page, page 4, letter J. It talks about using the public address system. Did your vehicle have a public address system?
I don't know. What is that?
The intercom?
Oh, a PA system?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. It does have one of those.
So did you know that PA stood for public address?
No, I didn't know it stood for public address.
Okay. Did your vehicle have a PA system?
Yes, it did.
And did you attempt to use that at any point?
No,
Why not?
I didn't even have time to.
You didn't have time when you were driving down the road?
Yes, but we were waiting on him to stop, but I didn't even think about grabbing a PA to holler on a PA. If he is inside that vehicle, I don't know if he could even heard it.
Okay. Going to K, the deputy in command, was that you? Of this incident?
Yes, I initiated it.
Shall direct each occupant utilizing the public address system to exit the vehicle individually according to specific directions and into the appropriate search positions after which the approach may be made. Did you violate letter K?
Object to the form.
I did not use that because when I got out, I made sure that I was yelling loud enough that he or anyone that was in that vicinity could hear everything I was telling him. And the reason for that, if there's neighbors in that area, you want them to hear what you're saying. And therefore, I was hollering loud enough to that he could hear everything I was saying.
What does the word shall mean to you?
Shall?
Yeah.
Shall.
As in
Means, huh?
the duty in command shall. What does shall mean?
Shall would mean to use, to do something.
And it says to direct each occupant utilizing the public address system to exit the vehicle, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
And you did not do that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. And it also says then you can direct each person into an appropriate search position. You didn't do that either via the PA or public address system?
No, I didn't do it through the PA, no.
Okay. But your PA address system was available? And
Yes.
functional, okay. Okay, let's go to K1. It talks about a situation, I'm referring to sentence 2. I'll read the first line. If a public address system is not available, which we agree wasn't the case here, it was available, right?
Yes.
Okay. The deputy in command shall give voice commands. If they are not heard or are ignored by the suspect, the deputy shall wait for assistance prior to approaching the vehicle. Did you wait for assistance?
I already had assistance. The deputy that was with me is the assistance I had.
Who was on her very first stop?
She's already a deputy. She'd already been through phase 1. She should already be probably done felony stops on phase 1.
Okay.
I mean, fully, they don't say that you have to wait for a fully out of FTO deputy for assistance.
You're right, it doesn't say that.
And they're also trained felony stops in the academy before they ever come out of the academy.
Okay. Going to L, the support deputy shall cover the arresting deputy until all occupants have exited and are in the search position. I think that's, in fact, she pointed her firearm at Bowman.
Yes.
Did you instruct her to do that?
Cover me. That's what cover me means.
Okay.
Yes.
The occupants the occupants should be ordered into a prone position face down. Did you order Bowman onto the ground?
Well, it's there's steps to go by. There's get him out of the vehicle, give him the basic first orders, and he didn't even comply with the basic first orders I was giving. I couldn't give him to get on the ground. I was giving him the first orders I gave him, and he didn't even comply with those.
Okay. When did you realize there were other people in the car?
I could hear them yelling at him inside the vehicle to do what I was saying.
So, were you not worried about them shooting you from inside the car, just Bowman?
That's why the assisting deputy has a firearm out also
Okay.
for anyone on that traffic stop.
Did anybody give them commands to get out of the car?
We had to get the first one out first.
Okay. But going into this hypothetical situation where Bowman would have gone to his driver's seat to grab a gun, there were 2 other unknown occupants in the back seat of that car.
Yes.
Okay. Go to page 9. What are emergency vehicle operations?
Just using your, when you go into emergency vehicle operation, it's turning on your lights, sirens.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the time that you turned on your lights and sirens behind Mr. Bowman, you were in an emergency vehicle operation?
If that's what that's considered, turning lights on you have to turn lights on and sirens to get somebody to stop. You don't necessarily have to turn siren on, but you have to turn the lights on to get somebody to stop. So I guess it would be defined by this as a emergency operation.
Okay, then what's rule 4, and I'll refer you to page 10, when a vehicle is in emergency vehicle operation?
The sheriff's vehicle shall not be parked in roadways or traffic lanes except when necessary to protect crash scenes or injured persons. You want me to read the whole thing?
Yes, please.
Use of sheriff's vehicles to protect crash scenes and injured persons.
No, I'm sorry. Just 4, but you kind of read it under your breath. Could you
Sheriff's office or sheriff's vehicles shall not be parked in roadways or traffic lanes except when necessary to protect crash scenes or injured persons.
Gerson was a roadway.
Yep.
And a traffic lane.
Yes.
So your rules say you're not supposed to park there when in emergency vehicle operation. Fair?
Object to the form.
What's the objection?
I'm looking at the policy, and you're taking that out of context of the policy.
That's fair. What's your understanding of rule 4 there, when it's applicable?
Not parked in roadways or traffic lanes. I don't think that. I don't feel like that's during a traffic stop. I think you just parking just stop your vehicle in the middle of the road with lights on and you just park there. Say you responded to say there was a murder scene and there was only parking in the roadway. They don't want you to park in that roadway.
It says
if it wasn't necessary.
You're not supposed to park in roadways or traffic lanes except when necessary to protect crash scenes and injured persons, correct?
Right.
Was this a crash scene?
Nope.
Was anybody injured that you were aware of?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't know if they were or not.
Okay.
At the time.
We'll attach that as Plaintiff's Exhibit 1. The next one I'm going to present to you is the general order for canine teams.
Oh, I've got it.
You got it?
Mm-hmm.
2 of these, let's see.
That's 47.3. Up in the top right-hand corner.
47.3. That's
All right, got it.
Referring to page 1, qualifications for canine handlers. What's category at? What's in F?
What page are you on?
Page 1, E to F.
Okay.
Mr. Harvey.
Just the F.
Yes.
Candidates must be known to have a mature, patient, decisive, self-controlled, good-natured, and disciplined personality.
Now, is that for the dog or for the person?
I believe this is, it says qualification for selection of canine handlers.
Okay. So that's the person.
Yes.
What's J?
The deputy have the ability to physically and vocally control a canine's actions.
What does that mean?
Meaning when the canine is trained, you can control the canine and he listens to what you say.
I think you said earlier you got to a point with this canine that he didn't even have to have a command. He knew what you wanted. Is that fair?
Check to the form.
He would do, if I got him out in a scenario that he knew what was going on, all I had to do was let him go for him to make the apprehension.
And did you trust Drago to make the right decisions based upon his training?
Yes.
Okay, even without commands?
Object.
It wasn't, letting the dog in where I know that I have, or where it reaches the point where I have to allow the dog to make an apprehension and I release the dog for the apprehension, yes, I trusted that he was going to make the apprehension.
Okay. I guess what I'm saying is you had a relationship with Drago that you didn't always depend on vocal controls.
Object to the
Do what now?
form.
Referring to J, it says the deputy must have the ability to physically and vocally control a canine's actions. Mm-hmm. I think you're talking about, I think you said earlier related to particularly apprehension, that you didn't have to give the word, what's the German word? What's the word for apprehension?
Packen?
Packen. You got to a point that you didn't feel like you needed to give the word Packen for Drago to go apprehend.
Object to the form.
At that time, I didn't have to because he went and apprehended like I wanted him to.
Okay.
So I didn't have to tell him Packen. The dog went in training. This is 4 years later. You know, after training over a period of time, the dog you can, like I've said over and over again, the scenario was a scenario done before. When I let go of the dog, I didn't have to tell him Packen. He went and done what I wanted him to do.
Okay. Did Drago ever make a mistake? Did he ever bite somebody he shouldn't have?
Yes, he did.
How often?
There was two incidents over the 4 years, if I ain't mistaken.
Okay, tell me about those.
The first one was during a deployment with a deputy who, when we deployed, the deputies run ahead of me and the dog. So therefore, when the dog deployed, he thought that was the suspect. And because the color of clothing, it could be, but the dog we was running. You're not supposed to get in front of me and the dog. Me and the dog have to be the first ones to go. Well, that deputy, I guess not knowing, was in front of me, and the dog went thinking that he was the one running from us. So he went and grabbed him by the leg.
Okay. Did you give him the command Packen?
When we deployed out, I told him Packen to the suspect, yes.
Okay. And he just got the wrong suspect?
Yes, he got the guy running in front of him.
Okay. Who was that deputy?
Lorton.
How do you spell his name?
Lorton.
Was there an incident report done to that?
Yes.
You sure of that?
Huh?
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the other one?
Same deputy. We deployed to a gymnasium, and now all deputies know that you don't be in the area of the dog while the dog's working. Well, that deputy didn't listen again. Entered the building of the gymnasium. Doors are along the walls of the gym, along the walls of the gym. The dog goes in. The dog starts checking doors. I walk out there into the middle of the gymnasium, and I'm watching. He's going around. He checks the doors. He goes around. Well, I didn't know the deputy walked in behind me and was going and checking doors also. You don't do that. And what the dog thinks is, I thought the dog was going over to continue checking the doors, and that's when the dog got there and met, and there a deputy stands, and he sniffs him and then bites him on the leg, because in those building clearing scenarios, the decoy will come out of the room, and then the dog will make a apprehension. So him walking down there checking doors and not supposed to be doing that, the dog ran over there and thought he was the decoy and bit him.
Was Drago under a POC-in command at that point?
No.
Okay. Was there an incident with a vet?
A what?
A veterinarian?
Not that I know of.
Okay. When did the two officer or deputy Lorton incidents happen? Do you recall what years?
The first time was when we first got out of training. The second time was close to the end of my career, my time at the sheriff's office. So 3 years later.
Okay.
2.5, 3 years later.
Do you recall whether the second Lorton happened before or after the Martinez Bowman?
I think that was before.
Okay. Let's go to page 5, please. Referring to number 7, calls for canine response. The following categories of calls should be considered as a response for canine teams.
Where's that?
Bottom of page 5, number 7. Calls for canine response.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then it goes on page 6. Which category was Drago used here?
Oh, let's read this. So what category was this situation used
Yes.
in? Any other call where, in the opinion of the canine handler, the team would be beneficial in assisting or functioning as the primary unit?
Fair. Going to page 10. Number 13, apprehension of fleeing or resisting subjects. I'm assuming it is your opinion that at the time, Mr. Bowman was a resisting subject.
Object to the form.
Is that fair?
He was resisting.
Okay. He was not fleeing.
Object.
He had already fled in the vehicle.
Are you
That's
aware-
that's what counted as the felony stop, because the subject wouldn't stop the vehicle when lights and sirens was ordered.
Are you aware that that was reviewed by a Columbia County jury? The fleeing, are you aware?
Reviewed?
Yes, that there was a jury trial on whether this was a fleeing.
Okay.
Do you know what that jury determined?
Huh.
They determined that this was not a fleeing, that he was not guilty.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, a jury you can commit a crime and the jury finds you not guilty on it. The crime still could be committed. Look at Casey Anthony. Look at O.J. Simpson. A jury can find you not guilty on a crime, and you still committed the crime.
Okay.
That's your right to have a trial by jury.
So you do not defer to a jury as an officer of the law? Do you not defer to
officer of the law?
a jury's verdict as an officer of the law?
Object to the form.
They're not sworn officers.
No, not that. You, as a former officer of the law, I'm referring to you, not them. Are you not taught to defer to the criminal justice system? Strike that. If somebody's adjudicated not guilty in a court of law, does that matter to you?
Object to the form.
It's not that it don't matter. It's what the jury ruled on. If they ruled him not guilty, then they ruled him not guilty.
Okay.
It's not it doesn't. I don't know what. I don't know what my. What do you, that it doesn't matter to me.
Do you ever get?
What if I got in trouble? I'd want, and I wasn't guilty of it. I'd want a jury of my peers, which is my right.
Of course. But it seems to me that you're not going to defer to the jury that this wasn't fleeing under the law. Am I correct?
Object to the
I had
form.
to have probable cause to make the arrest.
Okay.
And probable cause was there, so the arrest was made. Then it was up to a jury to decide. I wasn't even there. So at the trial, so I don't. What the jury decides is what the jury decides. That has nothing to do with me.
Were you supposed to testify at his criminal trial?
I guess not. I wasn't there.
Okay.
They didn't subpoena me.
Okay.
I mean, it was my case. I don't know why I wasn't.
Did anybody have any conversations with you about why you weren't called to testify?
No.
Okay. 13B, sentence 2. The handler shall always consider the age, size, threat posed by a subject.
Wait.
Sorry, page 10. Number 13, B, sentence 2. The handler shall always consider the age, size, threat posed by a subject to a deputy or citizen and the safety of any civilians in the area. Why is that important?
What part of that is important? The size of the individual?
Yeah, I mean, that sentence, is that,
The age of the individual? I mean, you're not gonna, I would use some common sense. I wouldn't put I wouldn't have my dog apprehend 8-year-old that stole a piece of candy out of the Jiffy store if he ran from us. I mean, I don't feel like that would be the right thing to do. 8-year-old being a small juvenile or something.
how tall was Mr. Bowman?
I have no idea. He was a pretty tall guy. I mean, he's taller than me. I'm only 5'5", and he was taller than me.
Okay. Do you know how old he was at the time?
No, I mean he appeared to be an adult.
Okay. And you were in a residential neighborhood, or I think it was a trailer park?
Yes, sir.
The last sentence, if the subject refuses to come out of concealment or hiding, and again, Mr. Bowman wasn't in concealment or hiding, correct?
Where's your last sentence at?
Just that last sentence of 13B. If the subject refuses to come out of concealment or hiding, I just want to see if we agree that that's not applicable because he wasn't in concealment or hiding.
No, he wasn't in concealment or hiding.
Okay. You talked about not putting a dog on a 8-year-old who stole candy, who was running away.
I wouldn't say putting the dog on him. I mean, I'd say conducting an apprehension.
How would you treat that situation differently than this?
Is a 8-year-old child
Yeah.
running? We would probably try to run him down, chase after him. I wouldn't put my dog. Have my dog apprehend him.
Okay.
Small child. I mean, I have small kids. Wouldn't do that.
What does fleeing mean to you?
Refusing to stop, continue to go.
Okay. Can fleeing be on foot as well as in car?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on, let me see that. And page 11, number 15 discusses post-bite guidelines. Do you know if those were followed in this instance?
From my part, starting whenever the canine bites any person, the following procedure shall be followed. The handler shall ensure that proper medical attention is immediately administered to anyone bitten, injured, their canine, and shall notify the canine supervisor and the on-duty patrol supervisor. Yes.
Okay, so you notify people. What medical care was immediately administered?
Ambulance was called to the scene for medical.
Okay. How long was Drago essentially on Bowman's leg? Do you know?
The dog's not removed until the subject has handcuffs behind his back. After the subject was apprehended, I run straight to him, tried to get his hands behind his back. He wouldn't put the hands behind his back. I finally got his hands forced behind his back and handcuffed him. When he was handcuffed, the dog was removed. So whatever, I don't know the time, but whatever, it's on video. You can hear the verbal stuff on video. So, we could look at the video and count how many seconds till he was released.
Did you put a tourniquet or any bandage on Mr. Bowman's leg?
No.
Why not?
He didn't have, it didn't appear to be an injury that was profusely spewing blood like a artery was torn or anything like that.
Could you see the bone?
I don't know about that.
Okay. Who was the watch commander on scene?
Sergeant Randy Harrison.
Did he examine Mr. Bowman's injuries?
I think so. I'm sure he did. I don't know what he did exactly.
Did he take color photographs of the injury?
I believe so.
Going to F, should an accidental bite by an agency canine occur during normal work or off-duty hours, the following procedure should be followed. the handler shall make no statement as to liability or fault to involved subjects. You know why that's important?
Wait, what now?
I'm
The
referring
handler
to page
shall
11.
immediately-
Yeah, F2.
Should an accidental bite by an agency canine occur during normal work or off-duty hours, the following procedures should be followed. The handler shall immediately ensure that first aid is rendered and the subject will be transferred to the hospital. The handler shall make no statement as to liability or fault to involve subjects. I don't know. Well, I guess that's what the sheriff's office wants you to do.
Okay. Did the incidents with the other officer become a running joke around the department?
A running joke?
Yeah.
There's nothing jokingly about that.
About him getting bitten?
No, that's not a joke.
So you didn't post to Facebook about it being a joke?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Let's go, that'll be plaintiff's 2. Let me borrow this back from you. P2. And then I think the final one to go through, which should be quicker, is emergency pursuit, 41.3. Do you need a copy? You got it?
I do.
Okay. Did this become a pursuit?
Yeah, there was a pursuit to me because it was that's why I conducted a felony stop.
Okay. Page 4 of the pursuit general order discusses the precision immobilization technique, also known as a pit maneuver. There's a black mark. Do you know what that signifies, or what was there?
Is that a high liability mark?
Yeah. What is that?
I mean, that's a very important
Oh, okay.
subject.
So this isn't blocking somebody out. This means that this is important.
There ain't nobody there to
Object
block
to
out.
the form.
What do you mean?
Fair enough. I wasn't sure if this was redacting something, like blacking it out, but this means that this is something that's important.
Yeah, I'm assuming. Yes.
Okay. Let me just ask you the question. Do you know what the significance is of the black mark? Referring to page 4?
What you just said is important.
Okay. Did you perform a pit maneuver in this instance?
No.
Why not? We'll strike that. Were you planning to perform a pit maneuver?
It was thought about, yes.
Okay. Why did you not perform a pit maneuver?
Because he was beginning to turn into the driveway.
Okay. And what was your justification for performing a pit maneuver?
Stopped the vehicle before he went out to a major, into a major area where there could have been people or other traffic to end the end of the pursuit that had been started.
Did Mr. Bowman put on his turn signal before he started that left turn?
Yes.
Was he traveling at a low rate of speed down Gerson Road?
Yes.
Okay. Whose life and so referring to page 3, if in the judgment of the deputy or deputies in pursuit, the fleeing vehicle must be stopped immediately to safeguard life and preserve the public safety.
Where are you reading that, sir?
Paragraph 3 on
What
page 4.
page?
Page 4.
Page 4.
41.3.
Okay. Paragraph
3.
what? Under what section? There are 3 paragraph 3s.
There's only the
There
first
are
paragraph
2.
3. Yes.
The first
Under
one, okay.
precision
I'm with you.
immobilization technique. If in the judgment of the deputy or deputies in pursuit, the fleeing vehicle must be stopped immediately to safeguard life or preserve the public safety, the precision immobilization technique, PIT, may be used. What was the justification related to the need to safeguard life and preserve public safety that you felt a PIT maneuver was warranted for Mr. Bowman?
Object to the form.
You remember at the first, you said that I don't know what Mr. Bowman was thinking. I didn't know where Mr. Bowman was thinking. I didn't know where he was going.
Okay.
So he could have continued to flee out into a busy area. He could have done anything from the time that he wouldn't stop. So therefore, to prevent that from occurring, the pit maneuver could have been used to immediately stop the vehicle.
Okay.
It wasn't used. So.
And are you instructed to take into account whether there might be passengers in a vehicle as to whether you use a pit maneuver?
You can take into account of that.
Okay.
It's your decision to make that by the policy.
When you drove a SUV looking vehicle, right?
Yes, sir.
How is Drago located in the vehicle?
In a cage directly behind the front seats.
Okay. How big is the cage?
Maybe it's as say if you it's an Explorer SUV, so is from where that seat would without a cage in it, where that seat, the back of it to the front of it, where a suspect would be at, that seat's taken out, and that cage fills that void up from one door to from the passenger door to the driver door. And it closes from the back of the trunk of the vehicle.
Is the dog restrained within that?
Oh,
In other words, is there a seat belt or anything within that cage to keep the dog stable?
no.
Okay.
He's free to roam in that small area.
Okay. When you open, so take me through what it requires to remove Drago from your vehicle.
You open the door, grab him by his collar, or you can or cannot hook a leash to it, and then bring him out.
Do you know what you did that evening?
I think I got a traffic stop lead that I think I might have hooked to him. If I didn't, I had him by the collar.
Okay. You don't recall either way?
No.
Is there any way to determine which was the situation back then?
If I had him by that short lead,
Yeah.
or I had, no.
Okay. Let's see, what else? Do you have a Facebook page?
Yes, I do. We doing this one?
Yeah, sorry. Pete, we'll move that as plaintiffs 3. Who is Chris David?
Shift deputy that was on shift with me.
So at the time, he was employed by Columbia County Sheriff's Office?
Yes.
Okay. Who is Matthew Montemurno?
Shift deputy that was on shift with me.
So at the time, he was employed by Columbia County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah.
Did either one of them respond to this scene?
Who was that?
Chris David or Matthew Montemurno?
No, they didn't.
Monte.
Montemurno. Yeah.
Murno. Stephen Kashigan, Khachigan. Who is that?
Kachigan. He's the PIO for the agency.
And he was at the time of this?
I don't know.
Okay. Do you know if he responded to the scene?
I don't think he did.
And what is the PIO?
Public Information Officer.
And that's you?
That's my daughter.
Oh, well, I meant this is your Facebook page?
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll run through some postings and just kind of try to understand them. Attach these as a composite exhibit after. Presented you with a photo that's dated December 19, 2020. Do you recognize that photo?
Yes.
Who's in it?
Myself and Drago.
Okay. Did you post that on your Facebook page?
Yes.
Present something posted November 11, 2018. What is that?
It is it's a skull of a canine with a blue line on it and says canine unit.
Where did you obtain this?
I seen it on Facebook.
Okay, and so you just reposted it?
Mm-hmm.
What's the significance of the blue line with the skull?
Police dog.
Okay. Why the skull? Why is it?
I don't know why they made it a skull.
Okay.
I thought it looked cool.
Okay. Another post, September 2, 2015. What is this?
This is a skull with a flag on the front, with a thin blue line flag on the front of it. It says, "Stop shooting at my brother's hers," meaning...
You can see the hers in a different color,
right,
just to set it off that it's both.
This is in 2015 when it was such a high, there was a high thing going on with officers being shot. I think it was like the highest at that time. And I seen it online, or I seen it on Facebook and I shared it.
So at that point in 2015, officers were at kind of heightened alert for officer safety. Is that fair?
They were being shot at,
right,
or they were being shot. I mean, that's the whole stop shooting at my brothers.
Right.
Meaning my...
And do you know how, have you heard of George Floyd?
Yes.
And do you know how long before this incident happened that George Floyd passed away?
No, huh?
And do you know the impact of incidents like George Floyd and other police-involved incidents related to African Americans, what impact that has on African American men?
What, the George Floyd thing?
Yes.
What kind of impact it would have on them?
Yes.
Well, I mean, it was all media. It was all, I mean, it was a big thing on the media.
Okay. But do you know what impact that would have on African American men?
Object to the form.
No.
Referring to May 25, 2016 post. What is this one?
Romans 13:4, with a skull with a thin blue line through it. For he is the minister of God to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for beareth not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of God, a revenger to execute wrath upon him. What does that say at the bottom? I don't know.
I don't know either.
This is a biblical verse. I'm a Christian.
Okay.
I read the Bible.
Okay. Did the Bible's not illustrated, right? The one that God wrote, it doesn't have pictures, right?
No.
Okay. So the photo of the skull with the blue line, that was not biblical. Is that fair?
Yeah. I didn't make this.
Okay. What drew you to this Bible verse with the skull to post it?
To me, it's more or less saying that as my personal being called as a police officer, I feel like that was my calling. I was called by the Lord to be a police officer. The revenger to execute wrath upon him, that's not that don't mean me executing wrath. That's the court system, and it ain't wrath. It's a court system that an individual has to go through. But I mean, it's no different than in the Bible. It says if your left hand sins, cut off your right hand. We're not cutting off our right hand. It doesn't. It's not literally what it says.
Okay. So you're not sending this message out to suspects that they should be afraid if they do wrong, because you're the minister of God as a law enforcement officer, and you're a revenger to execute wrath.
Object to the form.
I don't think I have any suspects on my Facebook page.
Okay, fair enough. Photo from June 14, 2016. What is this one?
It's looks like a SWAT operator with a thin blue line bandana on his face. They hate the sheepdog until the wolf is at their doorstep.
What does that mean?
In law enforcement, a police officer is labeled as the sheepdog in the law enforcement realm until the wolf is at their doorstep. What that's saying is, like, there's people that hate the police. I mean, that's not no secret. It's media wide. People hate the police and don't want anything to do with the police until somebody has committed a crime against them. Then they want to call the police. They hate the sheepdog until the wolf is at their doorsteps, and meaning when that crime is committed against them, then they call for the police.
Okay. Was Bowman the sheepdog or the wolf?
Object to the form.
Bowman was a suspect.
Okay, fair enough. Sometimes Facebook doesn't put the date because it just tells you how many days ago it was. So we'd have to go look at the data. But do you recall this photo?
I remember when this was, because we go to Camp Blandon once a year in February. So I don't know the exact date, but we go to Camp Blandon once a year for 3-day training with Alachua Sheriff's Office.
Okay. Who's Matthew Waddington?
He was another canine handler with me.
Who was Chris David again?
The guy that works, or another deputy that works with me.
Okay. Let me borrow that as my copy too. And I guess that's memorializing that first page when Drago passed away.
Yes.
Okay. The next 2 pages, and I'll give it back to you. There's an exchange of messages related to that post. Here, I'll let you review those.
Okay.
Let me see it again, please. Who was Rebecca Miller? Do you know?
Who?
Rebecca Miller, the first person?
I have no idea.
Okay. And then, is that your post? Mm-hmm. What did you
Yes,
say?
Okay, which one are you referring
The
to?
midway through on page 2,
Where it says
David Harvey.
David Harvey?
What
Okay.
did you say?
Says, remember Drago was fresh from the kennel and we thought our new corporal was going to make a huge deal about it and we might have to do a report. Laugh emojis.
Okay. Is that referring to the incident you told me about?
No, this was when I first got out of, I forgot about that actually. This is the first, when I first got Drago, and the doing the report thing was a joking. That's why the laugh emojis are there. But I had the dog out on a lead. It was the bonding period that I explained to you earlier, and the associating with the other deputies. Well, the dog was just moving around, and this was before training, so he has no training whatsoever, and neither do I. It's just the bonding period. Me and the deputy was standing side by side, and we were talking and laughing, and the deputy, I believe the deputy is, if you're conversating with your buddy, ha 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 ha, and hit me on the shoulder, the dog seen that, and the dog run up to him and started sniffing him and sniffed him up and nipped him on his arm. By the time I grabbed him, he had nipped him on the arm.
Okay.
And the doing the report thing was joking because Blaine Cruz was a deputy together with us before he got promoted to corporal, and Deputy Cruz was there. So it wasn't nothing that should have been reported. I mean, you probably could have reported it if he wanted to, but I don't think it was nothing to be reporting.
The protocol requires a bite to be reported.
Well, we didn't consider, when we consider it, I guess to you a nip and a bite would be the same thing, right?
What's the difference?
A bite is grabbing a hold and causing an injury. This is the way I looked at it. But he nipped him when I grabbed him. The supervisor was there.
Okay. Who was the new corporal?
That's the Blaine Cruz.
Blaine Cruz. And Blaine jokes back that the victim didn't want a report filed.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So this incident with Chris David was not reported?
It was reported to the corporal.
Okay, who was there? And okay. And then I think you made a joke at the end on the page 3. He was mouth hugging you?
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Yes.
joke.
Yes, it was
Okay.
a joke.
Okay. Attach that as composite. January 15th post. Would you read that and explain that one to me, please?
7 days out of this patrol car for some mind recalibration got me motivated to do some hood rat things with my hood rat friends. Chris, let's get it, dude. Have you ever seen, maybe you haven't, there's a YouTube video with a kid who steals his grandma or mom's car, and it's a viral video, and the news media asked him why he does it, and he said, because I wanted to do some hood rat things with my hood rat friends. So I was quoting what that had said.
It's an African-American kid, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you mean, even quoting a viral video, what did you mean that you were in this statement?
Let's go get with me and my friend, which is the deputy, let's go do some proactive police work.
What is proactive police work?
Meaning you're driving around in neighborhoods and proactive preventing crimes of occurring, doing traffic stops, middle of the night, just doing preventative activities, proactive, being proactive.
Why would that be compared to hood rat things with your hood rat friends?
Object to the form.
Because that was it was a quote from somebody else that I thought was a funny quote.
Okay. But you admitted that kid in the video was in the process, or it was talking about committing crime, right?
His was talking about crime. Mine was talking about preventing crime.
Okay. What's the significance of the YouTube video that was attached?
That's I listen to rap music, and that's a song by Kevin Gates that I like.
What's it called?
Big Gangster.
Okay.
It says it on the poster.
I'm going to the next page. Who is Adam Dees, D-E-A-S?
He's a friend I grew up with that lives in Tennessee.
Okay.
Is this what you're referring to as the joking thing?
I mean, I think we discussed one of the joking things already.
Huh?
I think we discussed the joking thing and that other one about the bite.
Oh, okay.
Here, I believe this is, maybe it's not. You say on D's streets in my patrol car.
Yes.
Are you familiar with what urban slang is, or ebonics, or things like that?
Ebonics?
Yeah. Street language.
I assume.
Here's what I'm trying to understand. Let me just boil it down. I've deposed you for about an hour and a half. No, 2.5 hours. And I haven't heard you use slang like D streets. So what I'm trying to understand is why on Facebook do you use words like hood rat friends and D streets and not in regular conversation?
Object to the form.
Well, is it illegal to use any language I want to use?
Absolutely not.
So I can use any language I want to. I mean, I don't see a significance of quoting a YouTube term or a YouTube statement or using these words. Are they specified to one person?
On December 23, 2017, and I may only have one copy of this one, unless it's the next page. I'm going to text you.
Oh yeah, it's on the back here.
Yeah, there it is. Did you post this as a profile photo?
Yeah.
Is that you?
No, that ain't me.
Why'd you post that picture?
Because I thought it was funny.
Okay. Where'd you find that photo?
It was on Facebook.
Okay. It was a appear to be a black woman, African American woman?
I thought it was African American man.
Okay, I just see her.
Maybe not.
I guess it could be either way. And then is there one more photo? Is that it? No, that one. Is this a photo you posted?
Yes.
And what does it depict?
It's depicting a training exercise where I have control of the dog without. It was a new exercise that I trained him on, to where you could. Because I was on the SWAT team too, so sometimes during a SWAT, during a entry, you'll take the dog in with you. I had trained the dog to be able to. I could call him from the vehicle without a leash on, and I would tell him to foos. And my stance, he knew that when he come to me, he would plots down under my feet. In a scenario that we were approaching a home, or we were approaching to enter a home or something, that dog, I could say foos, and that dog would crawl between my legs with me being able to hold my weapon in my hand, and he would go with me. So I could actually go into a house, clear a room with him between my legs, follow me through the room, clearing the room, and then just say that in a scenario that you open the door and then there's a bad guy there, the dog, without me having to use lethal force, the dog could use non-lethal force by apprehending that subject.
Okay. Let me see that text message. The kit text message you sent me. What does that beast mode mean?
I look at that. It's just a term used that for, say, a level of you're good at something. You're good at something, then beast mode would be, if there was a score of 1 to 10, beast mode is 1. We're in beast mode. We're good at what we're doing right here.
Okay. This was was this during an exercise this photo was taken, or was this posed?
No, this was during an exercise.
Okay. I think that's all for photo show and tell. Let me mark that as plaintiff's composite 4. And we can take a break or press on.
Yeah,
Okay, I was about to say, I
my
need a
bladder's
break.
going because of
This video,
kidney stones.
the time is 12:33 p.m. It's the beginning of video 3. The time is 12:42 p.m. We're on the record.
Mr. Harvey, this is going to be kind of the speed round, not meaning we're going to go faster, but I'm just going to, things are probably not going to be as in order, right? I'm just going to ask questions and we'll try to get through them. But the good news is that's usually right as I'm completing. And I'll be doing some reading and mental edits while we're doing this, so just bear with me. Other than driving without observable taillights, at any point did you see Mr. Bowman driving erratically?
Erratically?
Yes.
Not erratically, no.
Okay. Did he swerve?
No.
Did his vehicle strike anything?
No.
Did he throw anything out the window that you observed?
Not that I know of.
Do you know where he ultimately came to a stop?
In front of a double-wide trailer.
Right. Do you know who owned that trailer?
I don't know who owns it, no.
Okay. Did you run his tag?
I think she was in the process of running the tag because I told her to go ahead and run it.
Okay. Do you know if it came back with a match to the address he was going to?
I have no idea of that.
Okay. At the time, did you, or I guess until this scene ended, did you ever find out whose vehicle it was?
believe it was his mom's vehicle.
Okay.
I don't know I don't know her name or who she is. I just think what I've gathered, it was his mom's vehicle.
For Drago, there was no verbal command to release or apprehend. You just let go of his collar or his leash.
Object to the form.
That's what I did. When I gave the subject the last warning to comply and he didn't, I let go of the either the collar or the leash, and the dog went straight to him.
Okay. Was there any, and there was no order to stop the apprehension?
No, I would have told him Drago Foos back to me if I didn't want him to make the apprehension.
Did you tell him Foos at the end? How did Drago come to stop?
When I got him handcuffed, I'll grab Drago by the collar, and Drago knows everything's repetitive with a dog. Once you've done something so many times, say on the decoy apprehension or bite, whatever you want to call it, during training, when you grab that dog, he will let go of it.
Okay. When you said K99999, you were saying N-I-N-E, not N-E-I-N. Does that make sense? So, are you aware of how the 9 command is spelled?
No.
Okay. What did you mean when you yelled 99999?
I put K9 in front of that, meaning I'd already said Sheriff's Office K9, Sheriff's Office K9, and when I released it, K99, he's coming, telling the subject that he's coming to you.
Okay.
Is just in the same instance of a taser. It's what come to my mind whenever I released the dog, and it just ran on.
Okay.
The dog didn't run on. I in my mind, what I was speaking just ran on. My words.
How did you respond to Bowman's pleads for help or to get the dog off of him?
Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. I can't remember the exact words, but the dog's not going to be released until you put your hands behind your back, and I know that you can't reach for anything if you have something on you. That's the purpose of the apprehension. The dog has made the apprehension. Therefore, when I get there, which I ran straight up there after the dog took him to the ground, I ran straight up there and had to force his hands behind his back. Once the hands were forced behind his back, and I removed the dog from him.
Did you ever attempt to instruct Bowman to walk towards the other deputy?
I don't remember that.
Okay. Did you ask Bowman if he had a weapon at any point?
I don't remember that either.
Are you aware of any other nips or mouth hugs that Drago did that wasn't reported?
Object to the floor.
A mouth hug is, the Drago does that, would do that to me. Mouth
Okay.
hug. That means he's playing and he's just, he's not biting. He's just, I don't know if you have dogs or whatever, but when dogs play, they're not biting you, but they're putting their full mouth around you.
Fair enough.
What a mouth hug is.
And that's different than a nip, right?
Yeah, I mean.
Okay. And maybe I just got lost in the joke, but let me just ask the question about nips. Are there any other nips or bites that you're aware of that weren't reported per policy?
No, not that I can remember.
What is tunnel vision?
I'd say it was, you get in a high stress situation and that's the only thing you're focusing on. Sometimes law enforcement officers can get into that tunnel vision and then not be, you lose sight of what's going on around you other than what you're directly focused on at that time.
How did tunnel vision affect you on the night in question?
Object to the floor.
But just the totality of the whole circumstance was stressful. I mean, it was stressful on both ends with me and I'm sure him too. When you're in a situation like that, it's going to be stressful. It's not a calm, normal, common day conducting police work. When you get into a situation that revolved around.
What's your training on de-escalation techniques?
We had some de-escalation training, and I think it was on that Police One website or something like that. But you're supposed to try to de-escalate a situation. Nobody wants the situation to escalate to something that it's not. That it don't have to be. So we're trained to try to de-escalate a situation after you've gained control of the situation. Once you've gained control of the situation, you can start bringing your tone level down. You can start trying to talk to the individual. If we're referring to this specific thing, that didn't even occur because it stayed at a high, already escalated situation. I couldn't gain control of the situation because the subject wouldn't comply with what I was telling him to do.
Is it your understanding of policy and procedure that de-escalation procedures only are to occur after you have control?
Oh, I have no idea about that.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
Well, you've referred to the fact that you weren't going to begin de-escalation until you had control. Fair?
Yes, I had to gain control of the situation.
Okay. Did you try using de-escalation techniques to gain control?
I done what I was trained to do during a felony traffic stop, and that was to give that subject orders to comply with everything that I'm telling him to do so we could de-escalate down to bringing him to the back, finding out, dude, why'd you not stop? And the arrest probably wouldn't even occurred that day. None of that would have occurred that day if I could have got him to come into compliance and do everything. Just because you conducted a felony traffic stop don't mean this guy's got to go to jail. But it escalated to it went to a whole different way of we having to apprehend him to get him to come into compliance.
And the basis of this being a felony traffic stop was your view that this was fleeing?
Was a
correct?
refusal to stop, yes.
Okay. Even though we've gone through regulations that talk about not pulling somebody over where lighting isn't sufficient, roadway isn't sufficient, you may be blocking driveways, you may be blocking a roadway.
Are you trying? What you're trying to say that you've explained all of that to me, and that after you've explained that to me, I shouldn't be feeling that this was a pursuit or a failure to stop or a fleeing? No, I'm still at that what occurred is what occurred.
Okay. Even though a jury said what occurred wasn't what occurred.
Object
A
to the
jury can
form.
find somebody not guilty, even if they committed a crime. I explained that earlier.
Okay. Yeah, and you referenced O.J. Simpson, I think, and Casey Anthony.
Yes.
Are you trying to compare Mr. Bowman to
No,
murderers?
I explained to you
Alleged
that a
murderers?
jury can find someone not guilty, even if they were guilty. Has nothing to do with comparing the crime.
Okay, let me object to this point. We're not going to badger the witness. He's already answered those questions. You can move on to something else.
I resent that because I was not
Now, you're
asking
being
for the
argumentative with him in those last few questions there. So continue asking the questions you have, but let's not be argumentative, and you will not be badgering the witness.
Beauty of video. Did you arrest Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Mr. Bowman was arrested on scene. He was transported to the hospital. Upon arrival at the hospital, he refused to let the doctors tend to his wound from the apprehension. During that time, the jail will not take somebody into the jail with a injury on them. So therefore, after being there, the time we were there, and him refusing to let doctor fix up his wound, I called the sergeant and advised the sergeant what was going on there, and told the sergeant what we could do is, since I didn't find no prior record on him, so we know who he is. We know where he lives at. We got all of his information, so we can allow him to be released here, so he can go get. Because maybe he wouldn't let us do it because we were there. I don't know. But he would not let he would not let medical treat his wound. So we can release him from here and file a warrant for his arrest for the state attorneys to pick up a warrant, and we pick him up at a later date whenever he's got taken care of his wound.
Okay, what was he under arrest for?
Fleeing and eluding, resisting without violence, and the last one I charged was with DUI.
Okay. Do you have training related to how canines respond to aggression in their environment?
I don't know what you have to explain that. I don't know what you're saying.
Okay. Do you know how dogs react to stressful situations?
All I can tell you is what I was trained and what the dog under my command does or during. There wasn't a specific stress related training that I can remember given over different scenario or different occasions. I don't know.
Did you have a dog before Drago?
No.
Did you have a dog since?
No.
So it's the only dog you've ever
Yes.
had custody of?
Yes.
Okay. Silly question. Have you ever had any training in German?
No, I talked about that earlier.
We've been provided with a chart or a spreadsheet. It's at Columbia Bowman 003289. Yeah.
What is this?
That's what I'm asking him. We were provided by y'all.
It's the deployment logs for Drago.
Do you know what this is?
I think this is from our, from the system, the canine deployment system thing that we use.
Okay. How is it that you enter data that goes into that spreadsheet?
Oh, I don't know how it goes into the
Okay,
spreadsheet.
fair
I
enough.
ain't never even printed a spreadsheet out.
Okay. Have you ever seen that document before?
Uh-uh.
Okay. Borrow it again. Yeah. Here, let me just borrow yours. Date, I understand, right?
Who?
Date, up at the top. Creator, I think I understand. Location, I think I understand. City, state, agency. The other blocks, and the last 4 blocks particularly, do you know what those are?
Object to the form.
I don't know what that number. I haven't seen this in so long that I don't know what. I think that might be use of force, maybe. It's use of something. I don't know if it's force or what it is.
Okay.
The C, I don't know. The hours. A lot of these entries are training entries for. That's how much time the dog was in training, and most of them are during shift. That's all I know.
Maybe that's what call is, that if they're, and we're just kind of speculating together, I realize, but maybe the C is call, because hers shows call, and hers say true or false. So I'm wondering if the falses are training exercises.
I can't remember how that thing goes. It's been a year and a half since I even looked at it.
How many bite apprehensions has Drago done with you as his handler?
Over a 4-year period, maybe bite itself. Now, because you can have a non-bite apprehension too, which is whoever you showed the force of the canine. That means they complied, so you didn't have to have a bite, but it's still considered as an apprehension because they complied with the showing of the force of the dog. But the physical apprehension itself, I don't remember all of them. I'm just going to give you a number. I think maybe over a 4-year period, maybe 6 or 7.
There was one I've seen where, and I want to see if it's Drago, where there was somebody running at or by an interstate. Do you remember that one? There was like somebody that walked.
I need a little bit more.
Okay.
I just need a little bit more information.
Yeah, I think there was somebody running or walking on the interstate.
And the dog was deployed?
And the dog was deployed.
For a bite?
Yes.
Yeah, that happened, well, I don't remember when that happened, but the subject had fought. The Lake City PD made contact with that guy, and he tried to arrest him, and I was pulling up, and they began to physically fight. And the guy got away from the Lake City PD officer and ran down the side of the interstate.
Okay. And then Drago was deployed and helped secure?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what commands were given in that incident?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's been so long ago.
Have you seen that we have body camera of that? We should look at that and look and see what the commands were there. Do we have this as a spreadsheet?
We've asked for it.
Because I need to expand the. Yeah. I'm going to reserve, probably over objection, to question you about the spreadsheet when we have one that we can actually see what's the information. Just so that I can actually see who and what, because do you know this document well enough that you can testify without seeing the full document?
No.
Okay.
And we would object to you reserving, calling him back for that.
Fair enough. This stack. There was something on that document she wanted me to ask about. Do you remember? Yeah. Mine is longer than yours. That incident?
Yeah.
That's the problem. I can't read it. Do you remember an incident? Hold on. Let me find it on here.
I have this big stuff.
Yeah, but mine's different. This is different. 32. I pick up at 3289. I think it's the truths we need to look for. Because I think he might be right or I'm kind of talking to myself on the record, but that the falses are training exercises. '84?
Yep.
Yeah, that's why. But then I go 85, and then I skip 86, 87, 88. Skip 86, 87, 88?
Me too.
Okay. All right, I think I know where you're going to answer this. But in this document, labeled Columbia Brown 003384, that we've been referring to. That first line,
Is that the same document you showed me?
it is. That first line that has true at the top. Do you know, it says Tower Road in the something. Does that refresh your recollection?
Let me think of. I believe Tower, this is one, if this is the one that I'm thinking of, Tower Road is out in the forest, and that was probably a SWAT call out where a individual had shot at officers, and he ran into the forest and was down behind a tree. SWAT operators formed, moved forward into the with shields and everything, moved forward into the woods, because you could see the subject out there because the palmettos were only so high, so you could see him over there. So all SWAT operators, I was the canine handler on that call. We moved into the woods, and I had a 50-foot lead. So we gave the subject multiple orders to surrender, come out. He never would. Therefore, we sent the dog for apprehension, and the dog apprehended the subject.
Okay.
He ended up being dead because he shot himself. But we weren't aware of that.
The other,
If that's the case.
right, that's the problem. The other true-false I see happened at 302 Gerson Street on October 23rd. I think that's Mr.
Was that the day?
Bowman's. Yeah.
Possible, I'm sure.
I have that one at 3289 on Bait Stamp 3289. What I don't see, and I know this is almost unfair of you asking you about a form you don't know, but this is the best I got. I got to figure out something.
I mean, this is just entries.
Right.
And you see how many entries is in there, so I
Correct.
couldn't tell you what every entry
well, and
was unless I remember.
I'm
what it
concerned.
was.
The ones I want to look at are the ones that are under use of force, what we think is use of force, and I don't see. I only see those two. Is true. What's your training related to doing use of force reports when it's canine use of force?
Everything that what the dog deploys is documented there, but you'll on a use of force you'll complete a whole the report. I don't think there's a second. Oh, well, in that system, in that report system, there is a use of force tab in that report system. So you would go into that use of force tab and document the entire use of force. And then I guess I don't know if it goes into the system or it goes into the report or what it does. Okay. But it's reported.
Do you know how many you've done? How many use of force reports you filled out related to canine Drago?
No, I don't know how many there were.
More than 10?
I haven't heard of that.
Okay. I think we've at least identified 3, right? The Bowman incident, the interstate incident, and the forest incident.
Mm-hmm.
Is there
Yes.
any more that you specifically recall?
There was one I remember was it was in the city, Lake City, and a guy had a felony domestic, and he was seen running behind the house. They called me for a area search. As we conducted the area search, he was next to the door and a grill, and he had taken the grill cover and stuck it over him and squatted down. and the dog found him there. So, and that was an apprehension. But
Was there physical contact with the canine for that one?
Yeah, he bit. He had apprehension.
Okay. Didn't know if he could get to him through the grill cover. I didn't. Yeah.
Well, his feet were hanging out at
Okay.
the bottom. He was squatted down. I mean, the grill cover didn't go all the way. And then when he felt the dog coming, he got out of that grill cover and tried to enter into the house.
Sounds like a cartoon. Any others you can think of?
No, that's the one that comes to mind. The ones we've already talked about.
Use of force reports, regardless of the nature of force against you, or misconduct claims against you. That's my next subject header. I only know of the one that's the domestic relations. Are there any others?
Object to the floor.
Any claims of civil rights have there been any others? Have there been any claims of civil rights violations or improper use of force against you as an officer?
Has there been any?
Yes.
I don't know if are you referring to the domestic violence thing with the guy?
I know about that one, so I'm not worried. Like that one.
That's the only one that I if that was a civil rights allegation, that's the only one that I could.
And that was my inarticulate question at this point.
That's the only
4 hours in.
If that is it, that's the only thing that I could think of that would be that.
Okay. The Alachua County Sheriff's Office Canine Unit Basic Team Training Course. I'm just going to hold up the cover. Do you recognize this?
I trained 6 years ago.
Okay.
I don't know if they give us that or not.
Okay. Referencing Bait Stamps 005396. Are you aware of training that states canine handlers should exhaust all reasonable means to effect an arrest without incurring a dog bite?
Is that in the policy, or is that a policy?
I'm just asking you if that's what you're
I'd have to read that. I haven't read that stuff in so long. I don't
Okay.
remember what all that says.
Do you know if it's the standard that you're supposed to use that canine handlers should exhaust all reasonable means to effect an arrest without incurring a dog bite?
Object to the floor.
It sounds like common sense.
Okay. Almost done. Once you let go of the collar or the what'd you call it that Drago might have been on that
Traffic lead.
the lead. Once you let go of the collar or the lead, is there you have no further touch or control physical touch or control of Drago, right? It's not like a long leash that you have. Okay.
I mean, unless that, just like I told you, the guy who shot at law enforcement, he stayed out, because that guy, it was 50 feet.
Okay.
I didn't want to get, I kept hold of him in case the guy tried to grab him or something, but he wasn't alive, so.
At what point did Mr. Bowman surrender?
Surrender?
Yeah.
If you call surrendering as in became compliance when I got the handcuffs on him, finally.
Okay. And it was after that you released you pulled the
Yes,
dog
sir.
away? Okay. Kid found some good stuff, or somebody found some good stuff in this binder. Amy, what other questions do you have? And I'm gonna ask them, but. You want to go into the video? I'd rather save that for later. Is there anything else? Let's take a quick break and we'll finish
Certainly.
up.
Okay, time off the
Still
record,
within.
1:20 p.m. We're back on the record. The time is 1:24 p.m.
Have you heard officers in your unit, if I say the N-word, I'm referring to the word spelled Nigger, okay? Have you heard officers at Columbia County Sheriff's Office use that word to refer to anyone?
Object to the form.
Okay. Is there any information you can provide or that you're aware of about racism within Columbia County Sheriff's Office?
Object to the form, totally irrelevant to the case.
No.
Why were you policing that particular area on that day?
I believe that was my zone.
Okay.
And which would have been zone 1. I believe now, it's been so long ago, but I believe that was my zone, so we were patrolling through there.
Did you have your firearm or taser pointed at Mr. Bowman during this encounter?
Taser,
Okay.
because it was less lethal, and she had lethal on him. That's what the red dot was. That he's talking about the red dot.
How far would your taser fire?
It's on. I think it only reaches 25 feet, and that was the issue that I ran into. When you deploy a taser and a person sees that red dot, usually they're 99% of the time they don't want to be tased, so they become compliant, and it's just more. You hope that it's more of a show than you having to use it every time. But he was so far away, I didn't think that the barbs would reach him.
Okay. You were under lethal cover, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you move forward to a range within the taser?
But come out from behind cover where I was at and just go up there and no. Because I wasn't putting myself in that position.
Okay.
I had a door covering me.
Okay.
So I wasn't coming out from behind that door not knowing what could have been there, what he could have had.
Okay. And you also had an officer with lethal force pointed
Yes.
out. Okay. Were you reprimanded, demoted, or terminated in any way related to this incident?
No.
When's the last time you saw Mr. Bowman?
The night of that.
Incident? Yeah. I didn't hear you finish the sentence. I just want to make sure the record
Oh, yeah, the night of that incident.
Okay, fair enough. Anything else, Amy? I'm going to continue to reserve on the form that we don't have
And we'll continue to object.
fair. Other than that, thank you for your time and for your former service. I appreciate you.
Okay, I've got a couple of questions for you. In reference to the precision immobilization technique referred to as the PIT technique,
Yes, ma'am.
you were asked several questions by Mr. Phillips in regards to that technique. Let's make certain the record is clear. Did you perform the PIT maneuver on the night of Mr. Bowman's arrest?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Also, Mr. Phillips asked you several questions about using the public address system or the PA system on your vehicle. And you say you did not use that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there any issue with Mr. Bowman hearing your commands that you were stating to him?
No, ma'am. I don't know if he had any medical issues or whatever, but I don't think I was loud enough, and the way that I was trained to call verbally was so if there's anybody in the area that can hear, I'm loud enough that I yell loud enough that anybody around could hear, in case that we got to get witness statements from other people to say what they saw or anything like that. I mean, I was loud enough that the girls inside that vehicle were hollering, telling him to do what I was saying, and I could hear them in there telling that.
And that's my next question. Could you hear what Mr. Bowman was saying to you?
Yes.
Okay. Could you hear what the other, the passengers in the vehicle were saying to Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
Okay, so there was no issue of whether Mr. Bowman could hear the commands that you gave him?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Read or wave?
If this is typed up, you have the option to read it for accuracy, or you can waive it. I suggest you read it,
Okay.
and we will coordinate getting that to you. If Mr. Phillips orders it, we'll get a copy.
Okay.
But we'll have you read it for any corrections you need to make in the record, okay?
All right.
Okay, this concludes the video recorded deposition of David Harvey. The time is 1:30 p.m.